Last night, you might be shocked to learn, shows here on this network, MSNBC, covered the many legal threats Donald Trump faces and the dangers that he poses to democracy. We on this show covered both those topics across 3 segments. Now, it's hard to say what exactly triggered the ex-president last night, but clearly something he saw or heard prompted Trump to do what he always does, rant angrily on social media. This was his post in which he attacks MSNBC. He misunderstands the difference between broadcast and cable, attacks the CEO of our parent company, and then veers into this, quote, our so-called government should come down hard on them and make them pay for their illegal political activity. Much more to come. Watch. Now, these attacks are not new territory for Trump. It's easy to get bored with his whining. I certainly am. But I will say this, again, in the theme of our coverage here so far, as we head towards this election, you take this seriously. I mean, he's telling you what he wants to do. It's a man who wants to take power back, telling you what his policy on news organizations he doesn't like is. He is very clear with his intent. Our so-called government should come down on them hard and make them pay for their illegal political activity. And here's the thing. Yes, we have a First Amendment. Yes, we got checks and balances. But with a determined enough government and the right henchmen in place, do you think for a moment that Trump's whining cannot turn into real punitive action? Brian Stelter is a media reporter and special correspondent for Vanity Fair. He's author of the new book, Network of Lies, the epic saga of Fox News, Donald Trump and the Battle for American Democracy, which is out now. And he joins me now. It's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Part of the thing that jumped out to me about this is that the idea of using the power of the state against your against a media outlet that you that's covering you in a way that you don't like is not an abstract idea. In fact, there's some precedent here with CNN when there was an AT&T merger on the table with Time Warner that the Department of Justice intervened in.
Yes, I worked at CNN at the time. Before Election Day 2016, Donald Trump said on the campaign trail that he would try to stop the deal from happening, try to stop AT&T from buying Time Warner. And then once he was elected and once the deal was progressing through the process, through the government regulatory system, the Trump DOJ tried to block it, went to federal court, giant lawsuit, delayed the deal by more than a year. AT&T stood up to the president, stood up to the DOJ, actually was willing to fight, and they won in court. They were able to win in court, and the merger happened, but at great cost. It delayed AT&T's battle against Netflix in the streaming wars. And the broader point is that there is a significant amount of evidence that Donald Trump, behind the scenes, was trying to punish AT&T for owning CNN.
Again, this isn't the oh, what if? This is a thing that happened. Here's the New Yorker reporting on this, Jane Mayer, talking about Gary Cohn being in a meeting. Who's the Department of National Economic Counsel. According to a well-enforced source, Trump called Cohn to the office, and he said in exasperation to John Kelly, then chief of staff, I've been telling Cohn to get this lawsuit filed. Nothing's happened. I've mentioned it 50 times, and nothing's happened. I want to make sure it's filed. I want that deal blocked.
Right. I want that deal blocked. He was also on the phone at the time, Trump, with Rupert Murdoch, talking with Murdoch about this. Rupert Murdoch then calls the AT&T CEO, Randall Stephenson, and says, hey, you want to get CNN off your back? Want to get CNN? I'll buy CNN from you, which I interpreted and wrote at the time was a favor to Trump to try to take CNN and put it in cozy Trump hands.
Now, here's the thing I think that's so key about this story and the key about understanding democratic decline, because we've seen this in other countries.
Right.
The people at AT&T were like, we're not going to roll over.
That's right.
Basically, for whatever reason,
they stood up to Trump.
They stood up to him, whether it's their principles, the dollars in play, whatever, business. They said no. The thing that we've seen in other countries is an erosion of that, whereby you start to see people at the highest echelons of a society start to play ball and start to be cowed.
Right. Now, I've covered this parent network, Comcast, for nearly 20 years. I know the executives at Comcast in Philly, they don't get rattled by a Truth Social post.
No.
They have defended this news
Maybe
operation.
7 views.
They've defended NBC for as long as they've owned NBC. But we are seeing this with other media companies, and we are, as you've said, seeing it in other countries, in Hungary, in Turkey, when the state comes in and takes regulatory action, takes legal action, uses an IRS, uses a branch of the government to punish a media company, and sometimes to take that media company off the playing field. It is a very real thing.
Yeah, that kind of squeeze, and again, to be clear, it's like, yes, the First Amendment's here, but the way the squeeze has worked in places like Hungary and Turkey, and I don't think there is sort of robust democracies as America, but even when they started, is, oh, the IRS now has opened a case on your back taxes, or there's new legislation that regulates entities that deliver an item to more than 10 million households every day.
Yes.
It's like, oh, those are the newspapers. And then lo and behold, you're paying fines and fees. And then someone comes along and says, why don't I buy that from you, a la Rupert Murdoch?
Yeah.
Why don't I take it off your hands?
We'll fix this
and that
for you.
person is a buddy of the president.
That's right. And Comcast, of course, is an infrastructure company. They provide broadband to my home and tens of millions of others. So you can imagine the ways Trump could try to turn the screws. And it's not just Comcast. It's not just MSNBC. It's still CNN. It's still all of these players. Look, on one level, Trump's post is just the weather, right? It's stormy today.
100%.
It'll be sunny tomorrow.
Yes.
He'll rant about someone else tomorrow.
Yeah.
On another level, though, it's a severe thunderstorm warning. It's a warning about what he will do if he regains power. And that's why I think it's more notable than when he was in power and tried to punish AT&T, or when he was in power and tried to punish the Washington Post owner Jeff Bezos. Because back then he would tweet and say, boycott AT&T, and nobody would care. The stock would go up that day. It was meaningless. But this time, it's a campaign promise he's making to his voters.
And he made one the last time on CNN, and that merger, and he tried to hold to it. Brian Stelter, always good to have you here. Thanks so much.